Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, everybody. Am I clearly visible and audible? Please let me know in the chat box. Hello. Hello, people. Am I clearly visible and audible? Hello. Hello, Saloni, dear. Am I clearly visible and audible? Yes. Please tell me. Hello, people. Just say yes or no. Am I clearly visible and audible? Just say yes or no. All right. All right. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. 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 Stop chatting now. We're starting with a very important topic today, which is strengthening and weakening the argument. Now, before I entered, you all were a little confused as to why is the thumbnail about themes and everything. How will you improve your English? But see, that's not something you can do in a couple of weeks. It will require a lot of practice. So I would just say read a lot, okay? Read a lot, right? Exposure to the language in any form will definitely help you improve, right? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yes, Bache. So I think you can see it here. The topic for today is strengthening and weakening the argument, right? This is a very, very scoring topic in your CLAT exam. Every year you can expect around 6 to 7 direct and indirect questions from this topic, right? So let's stop chatting for a while and eyes on the board, okay? Okay, before we start, what do you understand by strengthening or weakening the argument? Okay, I mean, of course, we know the topic. What exactly do I mean by the word argument here? The topic is strengthening or weakening the argument, but what exactly is this argument word here? Can you tell me? Tell me in the chat box. What do we understand by the word argument here? Yes, people, what do you understand by the word argument here? Author's statement, the author's point to be proved, whatever is stated. Okay, it is being given in the passage. We are close. The video is not clear. Is it better, dear? Lag. Is it better now? I think. But see, I believe my video is better now. Is it still lagging? Fixed now? All right, thank you. Yes, so Agastya says the case that the author presents, very, very good. Yes, perfect, perfect. Statement by the author, very good, bache. You are all very close. Yes, yes, we can say it is a statement that the author is making. But in a passage, in a passage of close to 120, 180, or even 500 words, the author says a lot of things. Okay, there are lots of points that the author is making. Are they all going to form the argument? No, no. It is just the main point that the author is making, right? It is the main point, right, bache? It's the main point or the main idea that the author is making, right? Yes, bache. Or in clear words, I can say it's the case. An argument is the author's case. Sam says no. No to what, dear? No to what? What are we saying no to? All right. All right. Okay, this is what an argument is. An argument is the case of the author. We won't say it is the statement by the author, right? No, bache, this is not central theme class. That was a mistake in the thumbnail. The class is strengthening and weakening the argument. All right, yes. Now we've understood what an argument is. It is not the statement, not the information. No, it is just the case of the author. What's the main idea that the author presents, right? Now I'll tell you a short trick as to how we find out the argument in a passage. Okay, there is a short trick. Now stop chatting, people, stop chatting for a while. Now we'll understand what an argument is and how we identify that. Okay, I'm closing the chat window, eyes on the board. Now what is an argument, bache? Very simple, very simple. You know, the author will himself give you a lot of hints. What are the hints? Your job is only to catch those hints and identify the main argument, right? The main argument, bache, is always an author's point plus there will always be an evidence. What did I say? There will be a point made by the author. Along with that, there will be some sort of evidence. Now, this evidence can be, it can be some data, right? It can be lived experiences, right? The author is telling me, oh, this is what I experienced. Or it can be some statistics, or it can be an explanation, right? There will be an explanation, or there will be certain reason or rationale behind it, right? So any point in the passage which is again and again being explained, it is being justified, you have been presented with reasons and rationales behind it, that is the main argument, right? The author will always convince you about the main argument. This is how you identify, okay, if this is something the author is trying to prove or the author is trying to convince you about, that is your main argument. All right, are we clear till here? Are we clear on how we identify the argument here? Yes, people. Yes. All right. This is how we identify the main argument in the passage, right? Because again, the topic is strengthening or weakening the argument. But first, we need to understand what is the argument that we are strengthening or weakening, right? Because in a passage, there are multiple arguments. Let's say this person says this, that person says this. We are only concerned with the author's argument, right? Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, again, let's stop chatting for a while and understand what exactly do we understand by strengthening or weakening the argument. Look, bache, whenever in both the cases, these questions are a little difficult. Why? Because the options are not exactly cited from the passage itself, right? There is always some new information or extra information जो passage में नहीं है, right? So here in these questions, we are going to entertain some new information that was not written in the passage, right? So there is always some additional information, a new fact, evidence, or a new detail that was not mentioned in the passage. Very, very important. It is not mentioned in the passage. A lot of time people get confused, ma'am, how can this be the right answer? This is not even mentioned in the passage. Because bache, in strengthening and weakening, we are looking for new information, right? Additional information. Now, what is the difference? We have understood one key point, that similarity in both the cases is we are looking for new, additional, extra pieces of information. In strengthening, we, of course, as the name suggests, we are looking for ideas that supports the author's claim. Now, what is the author claim? Something that author is trying to prove, right? So, whatever idea supports it, strengthens it, that becomes your strengthening question, right? It reinforces the conclusion. Whatever conclusion is of your passage, it is reinforcing it. It is proving it further, right? It is making it more convincing or more credible. That is what you do in strengthening questions. Now again, in the weakening question, as the name suggests, we are looking for options that undermine. It challenges the author's claim. It creates doubt, right? So whatever option is creating a doubt Again, it's a good option for your weakening questions. Then of course you have option that make the author claim less convincing, right? That also falls in the purview of weakening the argument question, right? In short, you have to ask yourself which information is pushing the argument backward. वो doubt create कर रहा है, contradict कर रहा है, making it less convincing overall. That is a good option for weakening. Are we clear till here? Yes, people, are we clear till here? Tell me in the chat box. Very good. Yes, Khan, you're absolutely right. Sometimes we get confused and we get distracted, right? Great. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Let's move ahead then. All right. Now, first of all, let us understand how do we strengthen? What do we do in the strengthening questions? Of course, you can do it with logic and common sense, but there is a certain steps we follow so that our answer is absolutely correct, right? We so as to improve our speed and our accuracy, right? So, of course, first of all, you have to see which of the options is giving any supportive evidence. What is supporting evidence? Some data, some research, some statistics that is actually supporting to the author's claim, right? It can be a new fact, some example, as I said, it can be a data set, or it can be an expert statement. What is it doing? It is backing up the author's saying or the author's claim, right? So that is a very good option for your strengthening question. All right, bache, it is always going to give you a nice push in the author's argument direction. Then external confirmation. Let's say the passage is talking about pollution in Delhi and then you're giving some external confirmation by WHO, right? Or any other such organization. This external confirmation also brings in outside source or evidence. Again, it is going to reinforce the conclusion or the main point, right? Now, it can be a research, it can be a historical trends, factual information, or anything that is aligning with the author's statement. Perfect. Then again, the third one is, see, when you analyze an argument, when you read a passage, you will see that, okay, there is this gap in the argument. So, if there is any option which is filling the weak spot, right? Argument में थोड़ा सा एक scope of improvement था, one option will fill that scope. Again, it is the right answer when it comes to strengthening, right? It will remove doubts or it will fill the gaps, right? It will address any possible logical gap in the passage. It is a perfect example for your strengthening question. Okay, it's a perfect option for that. Then if it's highlighting the cause and effect link in the passage, right? Maybe it will give you similar examples where something similar has happened, right? Or he will, let's say, reinforce or prove that cause and effect relationship. That is also a good option for your strengthening questions. Let us look at the chart once. Alright, so Agastya is asking how to discern the better of the two options that are both strengthening the argument. But you see, what we do in that case is you have to ask yourself both. Let's say you have out of 4 options, 2 are supporting. Okay, 2 are supporting the claim of the author. You have to ask yourself first. You have to read the question very carefully. You have to ask yourself, what claim am I going to strengthen? Am I going to strengthen the overall argument of the author or any particular sentence given in the question? Then you ask yourself, out of A, B, C, D, bache, one of these will strengthen in a very, let's say, broad manner, generalized manner. Only one correct option will give you the exact claim by the author which is being strengthened, right? So in order to eliminate one of the two very close option, you have to know what is exactly the argument of my author and then you have to support it, right? Perfect. Okay, all right. Are we clear till here, people? All right, let us move to the weakening part now. But say, what do we do in the weakening questions? Very similar to what we did in the strengthening questions. Here also, what we are going to do is we are looking for contradicting evidence, right? Now, this can be any sort of data set, example, anything that is contradicting. Now, very, very important point here, bache, any option which is directly contradicting the statement or the facts in the passage is not the right answer. I'll give you a very small example. Let's say I tell you, what do I mean by that? I'll explain you with the help of an example. Yes, yes. See, let's say my passage is saying PM Modi is one of the greatest Prime Minister India has ever had because he introduced GST reforms. Now, GST reforms have improved the economy of the country many folds. Okay? Now, you have a weakening question. If the weakening question, if you're, yes, we'll do the practice question here. If you're weakening, one of the options says PM Modi is not a good leader. Yes, it is contradicting the author's point of view, but bache, we do not contradict the facts. If the passage is saying A is equal to B, the option should say something like A is also equal to C. Or in some cases, I have proof that A is not equal to B. You cannot straightforward go and say no, A is not equal to B. Understood, bache? We only contradict the arguments or the opinion of the author. We generally do not touch the facts without reasoning. Okay, so this way you can eliminate. Both options are contradictory, but this one is straight away contradicting the facts, not the right answer. Okay, have you understood this point? Tell me in the chat box. Yes, people, tell me in the chat box. Have you understood this point? Yes. All right. Apart from this, it can also give you some alternative explanation as to what's given in the passage is not true. Why? Because this can also be true, right? So it will give you alternative explanation. It will expose a flaw or a gap in the reasoning. Very good option, right? So what we do is, bache, why am I telling you we choose these options? Because what happens a lot of time is you mark an option which is directly contradicting the fact, but you have to look for the option which is giving me contradictory evidence, which is giving me alternative explanation, which is exposing a flaw or a gap in the reasoning, or which is undermining the cause and effect relationship, which is telling me, oh no, the relationship you have shown is not correct, right? Which is my video lagging? Please tell me in the chat box. Is there a lag? Previous example once again. Okay, I'll explain the example once again. But say, so what happens is, sometimes when you're reading the passage, weakening question में सबसे ज़्यादा confusing option कौन सा होता है? There will be one option जो question में passage में दिए हुए facts को ही contradict करेगा directly. That is the wrong option. हमें facts को contradict नहीं करना है. If the passage is saying PM Modi is a good leader and give me 10 example to show why he is a good leader. So a good weakening question will tell me how he is not a good leader. वो directly statement नहीं make करेगा PM Modi is not a good leader, right? We are not going to contradict facts. We are going to contradict opinions and arguments. Okay, that is the only point I'm trying to make here. Right? Anyway, you will get a fair idea of it once we try doing the questions, right? Shall we move on to the questions? Yes, people. Shall we? Okay, no problem. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, this is a very small, teeny tiny warm-up question. We'll do this first to understand the concept. And then, of course, we'll go to a longer CLAT style passage. You're most welcome, Sneha dear. Yes, yes. All right, all right, all right. Let's do this very short, teeny tiny question and then we'll move to a longer passage. Okay, class style passage. Very quickly do this. You have, let's say, 40 seconds. I hope the board is visible. 40 seconds, everybody. All right, all right. I haven't gotten any answer yet. Be quick. Okay, Agastya says it's B. Okay. Are we sure, dear? B. Okay. A lot of people are saying B. Anvesh says it's D. Okay. B, D. So we are leaning towards B or D. I'm getting a lot of B's and D's. Okay. Where are the students who wanted to practice questions? Where are you all now? Somebody says C. Riddhiraj. Okay. Okay, we'll wait 10 more seconds and then we'll discuss the answer. Akshara says it's C. Okay. All right, let's discuss it. Good people, good try, everybody. See, people, what we are before we move to the correct option, first tell me, dear, what is the conclusion? What is the conclusion here, people? What is the conclusion of this passage? What is the main idea? What is the argument that I'm trying to strengthen? Tell me. Okay, okay, Utsav. B, you say it is. Tell me, what is the main idea or what is the argument that we are trying to strengthen here? Write it in one line, everybody, very quickly. What is the argument that we are trying to strengthen here? Okay, I've understood your answers, but say now tell me. Tell me the argument that we are supposed to strengthen here. Tell me very quickly. Virus, bacteria, disease. The Rankers Academy, whoever it is you, bache, you said the opposite. You have understood the conclusion, but I don't know why you wrote the opposite of it. Independence of virus and the new disease. Is it the independence or is it the correlation? What is the main argument here, dear? Are we saying that the virus is not the cause of the disease? Now, Ved, you have also made the same mistake here. But see, whoever attended the paid batch yesterday, I also told you, whenever you have words like however, therefore, which is why, despite that, focus more. That's where you're going to get your conclusion. Yes, exactly. The argument we are trying to strengthen here is that it is the virus that causes the disease and not the bacteria. It is the virus that causes the new disease. This is the argument you have to prove, bache. Earlier, it was believed that it is caused by some bacterium. Now, new researchers have suggested that it is the virus which is causing the disease, not the bacteria. Right? So, you have to, how are you going to prove it? How are you going to prove that the disease is indeed caused by the virus, not the bacteria? Let's look at the options. A says in the absence of virus, the disease has been observed to follow infection by the bacterium. Contradicting bache, I have to show it is because of Akshara bache, I think you answered C. I did acknowledge that. Yes, yours was the correct answer. Yes, yes, yes. So A is directly contradictory. Let's move to B. B says the virus has been shown to aid the growth of bacterium. Two things, bache. This has already been mentioned in the passage. Second thing, how will this particular piece of information prove that the virus is causing the disease? It will not, right? So I can eliminate this. A, it has already been written in the passage, bache. I need some new information, right? So B cannot be the right answer. I'll eliminate B this way. C says the virus alone has been observed in many cases of the disease. Correct answer. But say, what did we study here? In the previous slides, what did we see? Supportive evidence. Whatever claim you're making, they're giving you an evidence, no? That there have been a lot of cases where only virus was able to cause the disease. So this is exactly strengthening the point of your author that it is not the bacteria, it is the virus which is causing the disease, right? Are we understood here? Yes, people. Any doubt? Yes. Is this understood? Tell me in the chat box. Yes. All right. All right. Yes, yes. Clear, clear, clear. All right. All right. All right, everybody. Let us move to now. This was a very easy, very shorter passage. Yes, Anvesh, very good. Now let's move to a bigger passage. Okay, let's move to a lengthier passage. Crystal clear. All right. Okay, then I'll move aside. But the passage is visible to you, right? Very quickly, bache, read the passage. Read the passage. Sorry. People, are we done reading? Yes, people. Okay, I'm already getting a lot of answers. All right, let me come back here. Ranchu says A. Akshara again says it's A. The Rankers Academy A. Okay, I'm getting one B, one D, and lots of A. All right, you are right, everybody. Yes, A is the correct answer. Very good, very good. Akshara, why did you change your answer, dear? Okay. Akshara, why did you change your answer, dear? Okay, B, A. Neha says it's D. All right. Okay, fine. So before we move to the right answer, let us first quickly discuss what is the conclusion here. Tell me. All right. All right. People, quickly, what is the conclusion here? All right, let's stop writing the options here. Tell me the conclusion very quickly. What is the conclusion of this passage? Okay. Yeah, we'll discuss that. Conclusion, tell me in one line, one sentence. What is the conclusion of this whole passage? Tell me the conclusion, dear. What is the conclusion, bache? What is the conclusion? Perfect. Okay, harmful effects of using smartphone. Development of. Okay, Utsav, close. Yes, yes. But you see, first thing, if you read the whole passage, excessive screen, very good. Yes, most of you have given me the right answer. Perfect. But see, the question itself tells you you have to strengthen the argument on the, let's say, negative use of smartphone, right? Yes. The conclusion you have to strengthen is on the negative effects of smartphone, right? Now you have options. Let us try. We have understood the conclusion in our mind, how smartphones are, harmful for people, especially the youth. Let's look at the options one by one. Excessive use of smartphone may lead to weakened family relationships. In one word, tell me, is this information written in the passage? Is this information given in the passage? Tell me yes or no, bache. Tell me. Do we have this point mentioned in the passage? No. No, it is not directly mentioned. Yes, the author is hinting at it when he is talking about your, relationships and your critical thinking. So he is giving a hint. But this is not directly mentioned, bache. This is not directly mentioned. Very good, very good. So this is something which is, again, let me go back to the points here. What we did was, uh, yes, to external confirm, it's the supportive evidence, right? It's supportive evidence. You already have a few, let's say, options written here. One of the few, not in direct way. Yes. You already have one of the few negative impacts written in the passage. You're giving one more. Okay, not just this. This also happens when you use smartphones. So you are in a way strengthening the author's claim that yes, smartphones are harmful. They will impact you in a negative way. Now, a lot of you marked option D. Let's discuss this also once. Option D says early ownership of smartphones among youth results from lack of proper parental care. Now, Bache, I understand why you marked this option, because you saw here that parents, educators, and policymakers are debating where to draw the line. So, in a way, you can think, okay, maybe they are currently not drawing the line. They are saying we should draw the line here. But, bache, this is not the argument that is being made directly, A part. Second, this is not the argument I am supposed to strengthen. The question has very categorically said the only argument I am supposed to strengthen is the argument relating to the negative use of smartphone. All right. The only argument I have to strengthen pertains to the negative use of smartphones. Anything apart from that, I'm not going to strengthen. Yes, option D will strengthen certain aspects of the, let's say, passage, maybe, but I'm not going to work on that. All right. That is not what the question is asking. Are we clear? Have we understood, those who mark D? Yes, people? Okay, Agastya. I think it happens with the best of us, so it's all right. But read carefully. That's what I would say. Read carefully, okay? Such confusions are born to occur. All right, let us practice very quickly. Okay, tell me any doubt in this question, then we'll move forward. Any doubt here? Yes. Akshara, you're right, bache. Who said the broader? Yes. Ridhiraj, yes, it is not supporting the broader perspective also, but very categorically they have mentioned I need to strengthen the negative use of smartphones. Why would I wander around? Right? I will stick to this only. Got it? Got it? Perfect. All right. This is a small passage of weakening the argument. I'll step aside. Yes, read it very carefully. No, ma'am. Okay, no doubt. Perfect, perfect. Okay, read it carefully, dear. Yes, people. So Avnesh, let me address your doubt. Your Avnesh is saying, doesn't the word may hinder the credibility? But say I told you earlier also, we are looking for the most appropriate option, right? Not the perfect option, the most appropriate one, since others can be easily eliminated, right? If you're marking C is contradicting, B is again contradictory. D does not solve my purpose as asked in the question. So I'm already left with A. Also, may is correct because if I say will, that would be an extreme statement to make. Because if you look at the language of the passage, here also the author is not saying that it will happen. He's simply saying that, okay, these are the possibilities that will happen, right? So this is perfectly aligned with the tone of my passage. So it is not hindering the credibility whatsoever. All right, yes. Yes, people, 10 seconds here. Read it very quickly. C, B, okay. I have started receiving the answers. People, it was such a. Akshara. But say, am I pronouncing your name correct? Akshara? Yeah. The Rankers Academy, okay. E, you say. B, C. Okay. I've gotten only two correct answers till now. C, B. All right, let's discuss it. Okay, people tell me what is the conclusion or what is the argument here that we are trying to weaken or that we are trying to compromise. Tell me very quickly in the chat box. What is the argument that I'm supposedly weakening? Tell me. Neha said, very good, very good. Okay, Sonu says he's not able to understand. Just a second there. Yes, you're not able to understand the argument, the main argument here. No, bache, wait, dear, you are close, but it's not the main argument here. Anvesh says, campaign of the diets. What about the campaign, dear? Perfect. Yes, yes, Robin, Agatya, yes, Sakshi, Anvesh, yes, yes, Akshara. Great, 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 great. So the argument that we are trying to weaken here is, let's identify it first. A lot of you are correct, but a lot of you got a little confused along the way. So let us make it clear first. The argument that we are trying to target here is that uh, yes, so see again the words like clearly, therefore, thus, this is why, consequently, they are screaming, I am the conclusion, and yet you're not focusing there, you're not heeding the author, right? The author is trying to help you. The campaign did nothing to further these economic interest. This is the conclusion I am trying to weaken here. Now, a lot of you said B, D, A, C. Let us understand, bache. Perfect. Okay. So A says sales of cancelled tuna account for a relatively small percentage of food's profits. Let's say even if it is true, yes, it is an additional, let's say, information, it's a new idea. I think it is true, but how does it prove that the campaign was not bad? How does it prove that, Vache? Not having any effect on my conclusion whatsoever. Let's go with B. Most of the people who bought these canned tuna for the first time as a result of the campaign were already loyal customers. ये तो strengthen कर रहा है बच्चे. It is strengthening the claim कि campaign तो बकवास था. There was no effect whatsoever. जो campaign से customers आए वो तो already loyal customers थे, right? They were already the loyal customers of the company. So it is in fact strengthening the claim. So I'm going to eliminate it also because why? I have to weaken. I'm not here to strengthen the claim. I have to weaken the claim of the author. He says a less expensive advertising campaign would have brought significantly fewer new customers for these canned tuna than did the campaigns did food launch last year. So what they're saying is if okay, so he's saying that something less expensive would have gotten fewer customers. But see, it is still not proving how the campaign was not a bad idea. He is simply saying, the option C simply says that if you reduce the budget for advertising, the number of customers you acquire will also reduce. It is somewhat justifying the budget, but it is still not explaining me why the campaign was not a bad idea. So C is doing the half work, right? It's a half-baked answer, not something I'm looking for. So I will eliminate C as well. Okay. Now let's look for D. D made money on sales of tuna last year. What difference does it make? Of course it made money, but was it more? Was it less? We don't know. Let's look at option C. Option C says, in each of past 5 years, there was a steep industry-wide decline in the sales of canned tuna. What are they saying? कि भाई जो तुम्हारा ये जो lack of profit है, it's not because of the campaign. The campaign was good. वो तो पूरा overall industry-wise ही एक steep down जा रहा है, which is why the profits weren't that high. So it is weakening the claim that no, you are wrong at saying the campaign did not do well. This is my perfect answer. Now look here, what did we study? Weakening question में what do? We have to give an alternative explanation, बच्चे. Alternative explanation. Alternative explanation as to what? The fact that It is not the failure of the campaign. No, it's the industry-wide decline in sales. So we are giving an alternative explanation. Yes, very good. Which is why E is the right answer. Yes, everybody? Have we understood? Yes. Very good, Pratham. Smart kid. Very good, Akshara. All right. All right. All right. Okay, last question of the day. Now, this was a very small question. I was somewhat disappointed. Yes, exactly. This is what you had to do, Anvesh. All right. Just we'll do one more question here, but it's going to be a longer question now. Proper class style. I'll get aside. Yes. You want me to explain option E again? But you see, option E is simply saying, you remember this point here, whenever we are weakening an argument, we have, D is not correct, but say E is correct, E is correct. Whenever we are weakening, what do? Either we give contradictory evidence या we give some alternative explanation कि author जो claim कर रहा है explanation उससे कुछ अलग ही है. If you are able to prove that, you are weakening the argument. This is exactly what is happening in this case, बच्चे. Yeah, what is this saying? Argument बोल रहा है कि आपका campaign was so bad, it was such a pathetic campaign, it did not, do any good work because the profits weren't that high as expected or as they should have been. Option E बोल रहा है it's not the campaign's failure, the reason is industry wide decline. तो ये एक alternative explanation दे रहा है बच्चे, and hence it is weakening the argument of the author, which is why E is correct, right? But see, D is not proving anything. No, D simply says it made money on sales of kennel last year. So what? So what if it made money from there? Was it more? Was it less? What am I supposed to infer from this? This is a completely useless option. All right. Now, very quickly, you have 40 seconds. Read the passage. Okay. I'll step aside. Yes, people, are we done? Okay. Okay. Saloni says it's D. Akshaya also says D. Anvesh says B. Okay, no problem. Read. Those of you who are still reading. All right. Since most of you already given the answer, let me come in and discuss. Right? Okay. So before we move further, tell me what is Okay, some of you are saying C, some are saying D. Most of you have said D. Okay, tell me, conclude this whole passage in one statement for me. Very quickly, but say. Okay, conclude this whole passage in one sentence. Very quickly. Okay. Okay, weakening due to global or very. Anvesh, but say, is this the argument of the author? You have given me the RBI's argument. I want the author's argument, but see, this is exactly what I was saying. Yes, perfect. Because see, in a passage this long, you're obviously going to have multiple arguments. Yes, 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 yes. Now we are heading in the right direction. So basically, yes, RBI is saying one thing. Basically, the RBI is saying positive as to how it doesn't, it's not reflective of India's internal economy or our very own, let's say, macros. But how do I know the author's argument? Again, let's go back to the basics. What did we learn in the beginning of the lecture? If you have to look for the author's argument or the author's opinion, you always look for words like therefore, this is why, or words like due to this reason. If it's continuation, if it's contradiction, words like despite this, however, right, nonetheless, notwithstanding that. These words are indicative of the author's conclusion or the author's argument. Now scan for that word. Despite reassurances, the failing rupee has raised questions about the impact on import, export, and inflation. That means author is telling you what all the RBI is saying, what all the foreigners are saying, but author is not very sure as to what the RBI is saying is right or not. He's still confused. He's still not buying into RBI's claim that we know for sure. Author is saying that yes, you are giving me certain reassurances, but still I have certain questions in my mind regarding the impact on imports, export, and the inflation. This is the idea. He's even trying to prove it. How is he proving it? I told you na, the main argument will always have certain example, explanation, or reasoning behind it. The reasoning he is giving, why does he have these doubts, is because he thinks that a weaker rupee will make the imports costlier. Yeah, it might benefit some sectors, but even that is very dicey. Okay, there is a limbo on that as well. He's saying only if global demand remains strong, only then it will improve our exports, right? So he's not really buying into the claim that, oh, this is not something we should be worried about. He is in fact worried about the weakening rupee, right? Yes, yes, yes. Now we have to weaken this argument. We have to tell, okay, dear author, you are wrong. Okay, whatever impact we have on the rupee in comparison to dollar or any other currency doesn't really matter. This is not something you should be concerned about. Now let us look at the options. Option A says the Indian economy has been affected negatively due to external pressures, but say it is strengthening the author's claim. Author already बोल रहा है कि I don't believe RBI. I think it's something I should be concerned about. Option A बोल रहा है yes, yes, you should be concerned about it. Negative, it is strengthening the claim. B says since developed country markets have increased interest rate, demand for the US dollar has increased. Well, yes, it has increased, but how does it solve my problem? My problem remains the same, that this increased value of dollar will affect my Indian economy. So it is not doing anything to that claim. It is neither strengthening it nor weakening it. So I defenestrate option D also, right? Goes out of the window. He says as demand for the US dollar increases, currencies of emerging markets weaken. Well, maybe you're right. But what do I do with this information? I'm still worried that it will impact my country. D says the Indian economy and currency are highly protected and insulated from major external shocks to the global market. Option D is saying, it is contradicting my author's belief. He's saying, dear author, you are wrong. My economy is insulated. Okay, it will have no impact of what is happening in the outside world or in the global market. We are insulated from that. So this one is perfectly weakening your author's argument. Are we clear till here? Tell me in the chat box dear. Yes. Yes, Pratham. C has already been stated in the passage. Moreover, it is not doing anything to weaken the claim of the author. That's a perfectly fine way to look at it, Anvesh. The question is asking you to strengthen the opposing idea, what the author is not believing in. Shelley asks, what's the difference between C and D? But you see, option C says, as demand for US dollar increases, currencies of emerging markets weaken. That is fine. C is simply saying that, okay, if dollar is appreciating, rupee will depreciate just like any other currency of developing countries. But say, how does it affect my author? My author is still worried that it will impact my economy. C is not addressing that. Okay, Sneha, thank you so much. I'm so glad you understood this now. All right. Okay, everybody. Do we have any doubt? Have we understood this? Yes. All right, I'll quickly revise it for you, bache. See, whenever you have to revise strengthening and weakening now, just go through these two pages. How we strengthen supportive evidence, external confirmation, fixing the weak spot, the gap in the reasoning, or the cause and effect link. You have to highlight it. If you're doing weakening question, give any contradictory evidence, write any fact, any data set, any explanation, or you can give any alternative explanation. Author, what you're saying is not true. There is another explanation for that. Or you can expose a gap or a flaw in the argument, or you can undermine or contradict the cause and effect link. Okay, you will say, okay, fine, these two things are happening, but this is not the cause or this is not the effect of it. All right. Okay, everybody. I'm really glad you all like this session. Thank you so much. Now we'll meet in the next class. See you all. Bye bye.